Good morning, students. I hope I'm audible and my screen is visible. Please type Y in the chat box in case my screen is visible and I'm audible. The second chapter is all about the configuration of Python, which IDE we will be using, what are the benefits of Python, why we are learning Python. And yes, this is basically a road trip or the journey to become a Pythonian or a Pythonista. Yes, obviously, by the end of our course, that is the introductory course of class 11, we'll be learning a lot of stuff regarding to Python with respect to Python. And yes, by the end of this session, we'll be definitely able to write codes of our own, solve the problems of our own with the help of the tool Python. Okay. So yes, why we are exactly learning Python? What are the positive sides of it? So yes, first of all, Python is easy to use, expressive language, interpreted language. Yes, its completeness, cross-platform language, free open source, variety of usage and applications. Yes, we have already discussed in the initial classes like what are the positive side of it, why we are learning Python, why Python is one of the most prominent languages as of today, and yes, but there are also some minuses or some of the negative sides which we should look for, like it is not one of the fastest language, lesser libraries when we compare it with C and Java. Yes, obviously, because if you talk about C and Java, there are many libraries, because they have been into the role for many years. Okay. And yes, the community is also, the development community is also strong, but yes, Python is also growing rapidly. Soon time will come when in Python also we'll have lot number of libraries. Not strong on type binding. What exactly binding is, you will come to know very soon. Okay. And yes, not easily convertible. Okay. So yes, convertible is basically whenever we translate a programming language from one to the other language. So that basically what exactly convertible means. Okay. So it is not easily convertible. Yes, because it is very loosely syntaxed. So whenever we talk about other programming languages where we have a lot of syntax, where we have to write a lot many stuffs to get started with the program. Okay. But in Python we need not to write much. Okay. Just in order to perform a simple task, we just need to write 2 to 3 lines, and that's it. We're good to go with the code. Okay. So yes, the ID that we will be choosing is not the spider ID. In the book you can hear they are recommending the spider ID, so we won't be going with the spider ID. We'll be going with the PyCharm ID, which is one of the best. Yes, that's not because I'm saying it is one of the best. You can find multiple comparisons over net, as well as multiple comparisons by top programmers. They generally prefer the PyCharm ID. Okay. As well as professionals, they prefer the PyCharm ID. Also, yes, in popularity index we also have the Jupyter notebook. Yes, but we are not going to use the Jupyter notebook. But yes, we'll be using the PyCharm. Okay. There are also many positive sides to it. Why we are using PyCharm, and why not other IDs that we will be learning in the upcoming classes. Okay. But yes, as of now, please understand that we'll be going to use the PyCharm ID. In case if you're not able to use the PyCharm ID, or if you're not able to use because of lack of appropriate devices, then in that case what you can do is you can simply go to the Trinket.io, or you can download the PyCharm ID in your device. Okay. Sorry, PyDroid ID in your device. Both of the IDs are good, which I've explained in the last class. Okay. So that's it for the second chapter. There's nothing much to it in the second chapter. It is a very simple chapter, where the installation of ID is being taught, and where you have the basic knowledge like what kind of Python, what kind of language is Python. So whenever we talk about Python is interpreted. So there is a difference between interpreted and compiled programming language. Please try to understand very carefully. Okay. Now I will go slow. Okay. So what exactly interpreted and what exactly compiled programming languages? Okay. So whenever we have a program, okay, let us move to a program. Let me print. So in Python, what exactly is going to happen whenever we will be executing this code? So the moment we start executing this code, Python interpreter that we have installed in the last class, which we have installed of the process which I have shown in the last class. So what exactly Python is going to do? It is going to scan each and every line. That is, line by line it is going to read. So whenever we have a sentence, let's say this sentence. Okay. So obviously whenever I say start reading, okay, then obviously you will be reading from this point, then you will move to this direction. After coming to this direction, you will come to this point. that is the next line. Again you will read this, you will complete this line, then you will come to this. It is not going to happen like this, that after reading this line you will come to this line, after then again you will read these two words, then you will come to this point. That is not going to happen. That means you are not going to read it abruptly. Okay, you are definitely going to read it line by line. So this kind of working mechanism or this kind of principle is being followed by Python as well. Okay, so Python is also going to read your codes line by line. So whenever there is a tool which reads the code or which converts the code to machine language line by line, we call that particular programming language to be as interpreted programming language. We call that programming language to be as interpreted programming language. Okay, there is also a different type of programming language, that is basically the compiled programming language. So whenever we talk about compiled programming languages, what they do, they convert the entire code first. They read the entire code first, then they will convert it into the machine language. Okay, so in a different instance, we can explain or we can understand it in such a way. Let us try to understand. If I need to explain this particular line, so if I am an interpreter, so what I will do, first I will read this line, then I will explain you the meaning of this line, then I will move to this line. After reading this, then once again I will explain you the meaning of this line. That means I'm explaining line by line. But if I am a compiler, so in that case what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this entire let's say this is the starting point, this is the end point, from start to end I'm going to read this entire portion, then I will explain you the meaning. So what is being told in this particular section, or what is being told in this particular para. Okay, so this way compiler works. And in case of interpreter, they are going to read it line by line and then they are going to convert it. Okay, अगर मैं इंटरप्रेटर हूं और मैं तुम लोग को समझा रहा हूं, ठीक है, तो मैं क्या करूंगा, मैं एक लाइन को पूरा पढ़ूंगा, सबसे पहले पढ़ने के बाद इसे कन्वर्ट करूंगा, इसका मीनिंग क्या है, फिर मैं तुम्हें बताने वाला हूं। जनरली तुम लोगों ने देखा होगा इंटरप्रेटर क्या करता है, जब कोई कुछ बोलता है तो उसे कन्वर्ट करता है, राइट, फिर से जब वो बंदा बोलेगा फिर से उसे कन्वर्ट करेगा, राइट, दैट मींस लाइन बाय लाइन दे आर गोइंग, ओके, और वर्ड बाय वर्ड. ओके, इन केस ऑफ पाइथन दे आर गोइंग लाइन बाय लाइन. सो आई विल बी रीडिंग दिस लाइन फर्स्ट, then I will convert and I will explain the meaning. Okay, then after that I will go to the second line, I will read it, I will convert and I will explain the meaning. Okay, so this way interpreter works. But whenever we talk about compiler, in case of compiler, they are going to read the entire para or the entire section. Let's say in this case they are going to convert the entire file, or they are going to read all the files first, or all the lines first, then they are going to convert it into machine language. Or let's say first I will read all the lines, then I will explain the meaning of the line. This is what exactly interpreter does and compiler does. Compiler पूरे पैरा को या फिर पूरे लाइन को एक साथ पहले पढ़ लेगा, फिर उसे कन्वर्ट करेगा. इंटरप्रेटर लाइन बाय लाइन पढ़ के उसे कन्वर्ट करते करते जाएगा. Okay, so it is very simple. Okay, before getting started, I would like to tell you that in Python we generally have two modes of programming. Okay, in Python we generally have two modes of programming. One is the interactive mode and second one is the script mode. Okay, the one is the interactive mode and second one is the script mode. So what exactly the interactive mode is? Okay, so whenever we open the IDE, okay, remember those who are maintaining or those who are using the IDE, please name the project to be as informatics practices. Inside informatics practices, please create a separate folder of class 11, so that whenever you go to class 12, okay, whenever you go to class 12, let's say after 1 year or let's say 6 to 7 months, something like that, you won't be in trouble. Okay, so if you want to understand a concept, or if you want to traverse by your programs that you have developed in class 11, so for that it will be very easy for you. Okay, so yes, as I said, Python generally they have two modes of programming. One is the interactive mode and the other one is the script mode. So what exactly the interactive mode is? Okay, so the moment you open the IDE, you will get the option of Python console in the footer part of the IDE. Okay, so here you can see Python console over here. Okay, so this is the Python console. You can see over here we have the Python console. Okay, so the moment I tap on this Python console, the Python console will open up. Okay, so in interactive mode, we need not to execute by tapping on the run button or something like that. You hit enter, automatically that code will get executed. Okay, for example, for an instance, let's say a is equal to 5. Okay, and I want to print the value of a. Get it? Okay, I've just hit enter and you got the value. Okay, let's say there is one more variable b is equal to 2 and I need to perform the addition of a and b. Okay, so I need not to print it, I will just perform a plus b and yes, you will get the output. So this is interactive mode. That means you're directly interacting with the interpreter. You're giving the command, it is pressing it, and it is supplying you the output. You're giving the command, it is pressing it, and it is supplying you the output. That means uh, instantly it is processing your instructions. So this is interactive mode. But yes, interactive modes are good, but in case if you want to develop a particular project, then in that case definitely we go for script mode, because in a script mode we can save the program in an organized way, okay? As well as we will have a better control over the project. Okay, so generally we will go for the script mode, because yes, by having the script mode we will be able to save our scripts. Also there are possible ways to save this interactions between the interpreter and the between the interpreter and you. But definitely we won't be using that for this session. We'll be using the script mode specifically, because in script mode we'll be able to save our codes in a proper way, as well as we'll be having a better hold in our file for, okay. So that's it for the interactive mode. And if we talk about the script mode, in order to generate a script, what we'll do is we'll go to that particular specific folder. As I said, informatics practices will be the name of the project. Inside that project, please create a folder of class 11. Okay, so how to create a folder? Go to this particular project, just type just give a right click to it, new, and here you will be selecting python directory. The moment you tap on directory, you will get the option to name it. Just name it class 11 like this, not to give anything. Okay, as of now I don't want to create any directory, so I will keep it blank. Okay, since I already have the directory. And in order to create a file inside the directory, just give a right click, select this directory and give a right click to it, go to new and then select python file. Okay, and I'm going to create a dummy file. Let's say this is our dummy file. Okay, yes, this is a script. Okay, this is a script of python. The default extension of python is .py. Okay, so whenever you will be creating a python file, the default extension or the extension that you have to give is .py. The .py extension is given for python files, so that python interpreter can understand whether that particular file is a python file or not. Okay, so that it can process it accordingly. Okay, so let's say if I need to develop a code, if I need to print something. Okay, let's print. Okay, now let's execute it. Yeah, so you can see, if even if I close the code, the program won't get deleted. I tap it, I get it back. But in case of interactive mode, you don't have the program. Okay, the moment you close it, the entire thing vanishes. So this was all about the interactive mode and the script mode. Now let us move ahead to the next chapter, that is Python fundamentals. Okay, so that's it about the second chapter, where we have learned about the positive part as well as the negative part of Python. Then we have learned what kind of programming language Python is. Then we have learned what are the different type of modes available in Python. Apart from that, we have also seen how to how to maintain the programs in a particular folder. Now what we'll do is we'll move ahead to the next chapter, that is Python fundamentals. Okay, where we'll be learning about the basics of Python, like what are the different components of Python, from which portion we should get started, what are the building blocks of Python, like what are the primitive stuffs that we should know in order to get started or in order to write a program in Python. Okay, as we know that Python is one of the high level languages that we have. Definitely it maintains the IPO cycle, that is the input process and output cycle. Any programming language you name it, it will definitely have the IPO cycle, that is input process and output. Okay, that means it is going to take some sort of inputs, process it, and then produce the output. But yes, why do we need some sort of programming languages? Okay, when we can also develop the logic in natural languages like English, or any programming, any language that we have. Okay, that's SMS, English, Hindi. So we should have the capability to write programming languages with the help of natural languages, but that is not the case as of today. Okay, the reason is because there should be something which computers can understand. There should be something which computers can understand. We have lot of variables in natural languages. Okay, all those variables cannot be for all those variables it is very difficult for us to set the meaning, to assign the meaning to the computer. Okay, because for example, let's say I have developed a programming language in Hindi. Okay, again, if I need to make the particular programming language popular, okay, then for people who are staying in US, it becomes very difficult because they don't know Hindi. For them, they need to understand Hindi in order to understand the programming language. But yes, English is one of those languages which is globally acceptable, and yes, there are many countries which uses English as a formal language. Okay, so that's why whenever we talk about programming languages, they are definitely written in the natural language, and that is English. But apart from that, there are few specific things that we must definitely look into. That is basically the syntaxes, or what are the pattern of writing that programming language. Although it is written in English, but there are few things, or there are few rules and regulations that we must follow so that we can write the language flawlessly. Okay, so yes, let us get started with the first topic, or the first concept, that is Python character set. Okay, so whenever we talk about the set of characters that are supported by Python, so you can see these are the set of characters. In case of letters, we have A to Z, that is capital A to Z and small a to Z. First thing you must note that Python treats uppercase and lowercase characters separately. For Python, capital E is something else. For Python, small e is something else. Okay, let us try to understand this with an example. So if I say a equal to, let's say 20, so this is a variable a. Okay, I hope you know what exactly variables are because you have learned in mathematics. Okay, this is a variable a which is storing the value 10. Okay, I have one more variable a which is storing, let's say, 20. Okay, so if I print a, so which value I will get? Obviously I will get this value, because what it is doing, it is storing both the values separately. For capital A and capital small a, Python treats both of them separately. Okay, so the moment I execute the code with capital A, you can see I'm getting the value 10. Okay, so what if I give a separate value of small a? Okay, so if I give a separate value of small a, I'm not getting 10. In this case, I'm getting 20. So we can say that it treats uppercase characters and lowercase characters separately. So we can say that Python is case sensitive. Python is case sensitive. Please keep this term in mind, that Python is a case sensitive language. So whenever we talk about case sensitive language, that means it is sensitive to the cases. If we talk about uppercase characters, it is sensitive to that. If we talk about lowercase characters, it is sensitive to that. That means it is going to definitely treat the uppercase characters and lowercase characters separately. And if you talk about the digits that are being supported by Python, obviously we know that digits starts from 0 to 9. Okay, so in between 0 to 9 we can have infinite numbers. So yes, 0 to 9, Python supports digits from starting from 0 to 9. Okay, so yes, here it is given positive integers, but definitely Python will also support negative integers. Let me give you an instance for that. So let's see if I store minus 10. Okay, so if I say print capital A, okay, so I execute the code, you can see that I'm getting the value to be as minus 10. Okay, so yes, Python supports negative integers as well. So if you talk about spatial symbols, what are the spatial symbols that are supported by Python? Spaces, plus, minus, multiplication, forward slash, backward slash, two asterisks, parenthesis. So this is a parenthesis. Those who are new to the programming language, or those who have started writing program for the first time, or those who are new to this course, that is informatics practices, obviously all of you are new, but those who are new to the concept of programming, please understand, these are known as parentheses. These are known as parentheses. I won't be calling as first bracket. Okay, so first bracket is used for mathematics, so I will be using parentheses. This will be the square brackets, this will be the curly brackets. Okay, as usual. Okay, but yes, whenever we talk about parentheses, understand that we'll be dealing with the first bracket. Okay, followed by the two forward slashes, equal to, exclamation mark, equal to. This is basically not equal to, equal to, we'll be understanding about that. Greater than, less than. Okay, and then single quotes, double quotes, comma, semicolon, colon, percentage, exclamation mark, and hash. Yes, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to. Okay, and then we have at, then underscore. Okay, so this many things are supported by Python with respect to the spatial symbols. Apart from that, we cannot have other spatial symbols in Python. But yes, so if you want to have some sort of spatial symbol, then you can definitely use it with respect to some sort of strings. Okay, so how we can use it, let me show you an example so that you can gain some sort of interest. Okay, can anybody send some emoji in the chat box? Please do me a favor, please send an emoji in the chat box. Emoji in the chat box. I want an emoji in the chat box. Any emoji, but please, but yes, do send a decent one. Okay, good. Just okay, that will be fine. Okay, So let's see if I need to display this in Python. Okay, I want to display the smiley in Python. So what is the possible way? Let us copy this and let us see whether Python is able to process it or not. Within double quotes, I will simply have this. In double quotes, I can simply have this. So the moment we execute code, let's say, happy learning Python. Okay, so let us execute it. You can see we get the emoji as our choice. So yes, so whenever you want to have the spatial characters, we can have, but definitely it will be treated as string values. So what are exactly string values, that will come to know. Okay, but as of now, please understand that yes, apart from the spatial characters, if you want to use, you need to put it under double quotes. Okay, we'll be learning that very soon. Okay. Yes, regarding the white spaces, blank spaces is supported, tab is supported, carry return or the enter that you say is supported, new line is supported, form field is supported. Okay, so what are this blank spaces? Clear, I think. What you know that what exactly blank spaces are, tabs are. So tab basically tab generally denotes 4 spaces at a time. Okay, so yes, so you can see I have one space. So if I give, let's say, tab, so this is one space. Okay, this is one space. So this is being processed with the help of the space bar. So what I give tab. Okay, so you can see this is tab. Okay, so I hit enter. Okay, let us try to understand in this way. Tab and P. Okay, just P, or just give a hyphen. Okay, so I give 4 spaces, 1 2 3 4. Then I can give this. So I hope you can understand that tab will generally generate 4 space at a time. So if we talk about tab will generate 4 space at a time. So this can also be performed with the help of spacebar, but you need to hit the spacebar for the four times. 1 2 3 4. But in case of tab, you need not to do that. Just a single tab, that's it. Okay. So this is the difference between tab and the spacebar. Okay. And if we talk about tokens, yes. So this was all about Python character set. There are also other characters that can also be, yes. We are left with this portion, that is other characters. There are also other characters that are being supported by Python. We talk about ASCII characters. Okay, ASCII basically stands for American Standard Code of Information Interchange. Okay, Python can process all ASCII characters and Unicode characters as a part of data, all literals. Okay, so literals are basically the values that we give. Okay, yes, Python basically support all ASCII characters. But what exactly ASCII characters are? Let us try to understand. Okay. Okay, so let us go to this image and see the ASCII characters, the list of ASCII characters. So ASCII characters are basically those characters in which for every decimal value there is a corresponding meaning to it. There is a corresponding character that is assigned to it. Okay, for every decimal value there is a corresponding value that is being assigned to it. What happens whenever we hit that particular character? Python will convert that particular character to that particular numerical value, and that particular numerical value will be converted to the binary value, so that we can understand what does it mean. Yeah, you can see this. I don't think the image is too clear. Let me find one image which is a little bit clear. Yeah, this image is clear. Okay, so for 0 you can see that the character which is represented is basically null. Okay, and for characters of English alphabet, you can see for 65, you can see the character that is being denoted is A. That means whenever we will hit enter, or whenever you will hit A in the programming language, okay, whenever you will hit A in the programming language, this particular character will get converted to this particular decimal value. From decimal value, this will get converted to binary value, or the, yes, uh, binary number. Okay, so this is how the process works. Like, you have a character, this will get converted to decimal. From decimal, it will get converted to binary. Okay, we'll be learning about this in the next class, like how the conversion works, so that you can understand it in a better way. So this is the ASCII table. That means for every character, there is a decimal value to it. Okay, don't get confused don't get confused with the decimal value of programming language with respect to the mathematics. In mathematics, whenever we understand decimal numbers, we understand that there is a point associated with that number. Okay, you must be in a confusion state that we don't have any decimal point, so why are we calling these numbers to be as decimal numbers? So we call these numbers to be as decimal numbers because they have they are the multiple of 10. They are the multiple of 10, or they have the base of 10. Okay, so that's why we call it as decimal numbers. Okay, that means yes, definitely these numbers are generated because they are the multiple of 10. At the same time, we call these numbers to be as decimal numbers because they have the base of 10. Okay, yes, so this is what decimal numbers are. Okay, in programming language, please understand that decimal number starts from 0 to infinity, and here we won't be having the points, okay, like 1.2, 1.3, we won't be having those. Okay, so those are to be considered as floating point values. Okay, so we'll be able to understand that in the upcoming classes. Okay, but just as of now, please understand that for every character there is a corresponding decimal number associated with that. Also there is a hexadecimal number. This is hex, hex basically stands for hexadecimal. Okay, we won't be discussing about this in this class because this is beyond the syllabus. But yes, definitely I can give you insight of it, what exactly hexadecimal values are. Okay, but yes, as I'm saying, for every character there is a corresponding decimal number, and for that decimal number there is a corresponding binary value that should be mapped. Okay, this way the programming language, what they do, they convert the values and they convey the message to the machine. Okay, because machine, they only understand binary values.
So,
Yes, Shashwat.
sir, this will be useful when we want to compare compare letters or words, sir, because we can't compare A and B. We can compare the number.
Yes, at the same time, yes, very good. This can be used to compare the numbers, not only the numbers, the entire converting. Because computer, they don't understand what exactly A is. Computer won't understand what exactly RAM is, or computer won't understand what exactly let's say apples are. What they won't understand what exactly oranges are. So whenever we store it, entire character, for each and every character, there will be a corresponding ASCII value or corresponding decimal value which gets generated, and that decimal value will once again be converted to binary value, which will be understood by the computer. Okay, because computers, they generally understand binary values. So here you see that you're typing is. Okay, here somebody has typed I, capital I, and capital small letter s. Okay, so for capital I, you can see that the corresponding ASCII value is, where is capital I, the corresponding ASCII value is 73. Yes, that means I will be converted to 73 in computer. And if you talk about s, small letter s, so if you go to the small letter s, this small letter s will be converted to 115. That means computer will convert it as 73115. Okay, 73115. Okay, first, this is the first step. Now after converting 73115, what computer will do, computer will convert this particular decimal value to binary. Okay, so here I will give the decimal value, and you can see computer will convert is in this way. That means the meaning of is for computer is this. Okay, so this is the meaning of is for computers. Okay, I hope you have understood the paradigm, like how it works. Okay, how the characters are being converted. So that's it for today's class. In the next class, we'll get started with tokens.